Hello and welcome to this video of Study the Bible with me. My name's Michael and my lovely wife Sharon is hiding someplace behind that camera.
I'm behind the camera and my name is Sharon.
All right. Today's lesson we're going to go to Mark chapter 8, and this is the story of Jesus feeding the 4,000. There's two stories of Jesus feeding multitudes. One is a crowd of 5,000 plus, and that is a predominantly Jewish crowd. This one, according to the commentaries I've studied, is a predominantly Gentile crowd. So Mark chapter 8, starting at verse 1, I'm going to read a few verses down to verse 5. In those days, the multitude being very great and having nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples unto him and said unto them, I have compassion on the multitude, because they have now been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. And if I send them away fasting to their own houses, they will faint by the way, for divers, or many, of them came from far. And his disciples answered him, From whence can a man satisfy these men with bread here in the wilderness? And he asked them, How many loaves have ye? And they said, 7. Now that's the part I want to focus on. Like I said, this is the second feeding of a multitude that Jesus did. And for 3 days, they hung on his every word, trying to absorb all that he had to teach them. For he was taught like no other rabbi had ever taught before. And after 3 days, he says, well, he had compassion before, but at the end of the third day, he said, I have compassion on them. I'm sorry for them because they've been sitting here listening. They have nothing to eat. And I can't send them away hungry now because they'll faint. Some of them have a long journey home. And the disciples, fresh off this other feeding, the other feeding wasn't too long before. And Jesus told them, he taught them a lesson that with God all things were possible. But here they face the same situation again. And it's also a testing of their faith to see, did they learn that lesson? So he said, I don't want to send these people away hungry. And they respond, where out here in the wilderness can we get enough food to feed all these people? Jesus said, How many loaves have ye? Now that's what struck me when I was studying this passage. You know what? It didn't matter how many loaves they had. It wasn't going to be enough. And that's something God's taught me. It doesn't matter what I have. It doesn't matter how long I've studied the Bible, how long I've been in Bible schools and hung around preachers, been in church, absorbed all that. That doesn't matter because it will never be enough. But here comes the miracle. When you give it to him, it will be more than enough. Now, the passage goes on and says that he commanded the people to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks and broke and gave to his disciples to set before them. And they did set them before the people. In the Greek, it says that he was blessing, and it's a continuous sense, and that he was breaking, and that's also a continuous sense. So they had put in his hands what they had. And when it's in the hands of the master, he can multiply it, he can bless it, and he can make it fulfill the need at that time. Well, that was what I wanted to share with you. It's going to be a little short this time, but it's a very powerful message. Whatever you have, put in the hands of the master. If you try to do it, you're going to run out. But if you give him what you have and let him use it to his glory, it will become miraculous. All right, Sharon, do you have a question about anything?
Just looking back and my studies in the Bible, there's time after time after time where God multiplied provisions for people. One story that I am recalling is the woman where the prophet told her to get oil and flour.
That was the prophet Elijah.
That's right.
Yes.
So expand on that, Michael.
he went to her and he said, "Make me something to eat." It was during the drought that he himself had called down from heaven because the nation was in rebellion and the king was in rebellion. So he called down a drought and said, "It won't rain until I tell it to." So he went to this town and found this widow woman. He said, "Give me something to eat." And she said, "Oh, I've just got enough flour and enough oil. I'm going to make two little cakes of something." They called them cakes. It's actually more like, well, if you went to a Greek restaurant, the pita bread or fajita bread.
Flatbread.
Flatbread.
Yeah.
She said, "I'm going to make two. One's for my son, one's for me. We're going to eat it and we're going to die because this is a horrible time. We're starving." And the prophet said, "Make me one first, and then make for yourself and for your son." And something sparked faith in her, and she did that. She fed the prophet of God first, and then she made for herself and for her son. And then she found out, well, there's enough for tomorrow. So the next day she made some more, and every day that she made it, she looked and found out that the flour never ran out and the oil never ran dry. And there was enough there to last until the end of the drought. So another example, you put into God's hands what you have, and he will make it miraculous.
And that also makes me think of how us Christians and people of God, we are to be the hands and feet of Jesus. When we see a need, do what we can do to fill it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and that's how, by giving this prayer to God that I don't have enough, you will have enough if you put your faith in the Lord, because the Lord will make a way where there is no way.
Exactly. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lesson and tune in next time. I'd like to say thank you to our subscribers and to those of you that share. That means a lot. And leave us a comment. I still have trouble replying to comments, so I'll have to use Sharon's phone to answer you folks. For some reason, my phone don't want to answer you, but I do. So until next time, we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.